Hi guys, so yes, I am back with a very excited reaction video. Yes, you see, today on Total War's website and on the forums, yes, they have revealed the official Immortal Empires map. I know that there was that leaked concept map a few months back, but that was just kind of like deep in the files, like what it may look like. But now Total War have released in a big blog what the map will look like come August when Immortal Empires releases. So this is it, the combined mega campaign map of all three games together in one, and it is absolutely beautiful. I'm looking at it right now. It's really well done from Creative Assembly. They look like they've done a great job. My worry about this map was that some parts of, say, maybe each game's map were going to be squished and condensed just to fit everything in, and it wouldn't look as good, because that was the case in some sections down here in the Mortal Empires map, obviously for Warhammer 1 and 2 back in 2017. But no, this is the case. This looks like it's going to be amazing. It's the biggest map we've ever seen in a Total War game to this day. I've marked a few things up here. I'm going to go over some bits and bobs later. Yeah, so this is what it says. The Immortal Empires map is massive, the biggest map of any Total War game has featured to date, and nearly twice as large as the Mortal Empires map first introduced in 2017 to Total War Warhammer 2. Twice as large, my god. For perspective, the number of settlements has not only increased from 401 to 544, wow, but the number of starting factions has also increased from 183 to 278. Wow, that is incredible. Also, there were 74 legendary lords for Mortal Empires, but for Immortal Empires there will be 86 legendary lords. Of course, that will be including the 12 extra legendary lords that we got in Total War Warhammer 3. And of course, we know there's plenty more are going to be added in the next few years, so it is really, really exciting. So when I look at this map, I think they've done such a good job, because in Mortal Empires, bits of Warhammer's 2 map was a bit squashed. So here, I've circled the High Elf continent of Ulthuan in white here, because it was a bit scrunched in, I think, Ulthuan in Mortal Empires. But here, it looks like they've expanded Ulthuan back to its full size a little bit, like it was in the Eye of the Vortex campaign. The same goes for Nagaroth, the realm of the Dark Elves, which I've put here. Yeah, Nagaroth looks a bit bigger as well, a bit more chunky, because it did get squashed a little bit in Mortal Empires. So that's great. The Dark Elves have got more space as well, with the Witchwood, with the Wood Elves. We know Torax will start here, and a few other factions like Skaven. So yeah, and another big addition. I'm just going by continent by continent. Look at this. Lustria has not been shrunk. We have the full version of Lustria in this game, in Immortal Empires. Look at that. Oh yes, because in Mortal Empires we only got like this section of Lustria. It was weird. It was just like a little square in the corner, which was just left. But now the bottom bits have been included, with the Lost Valley, the Clutching Plains, the Long Night Forest Road. That's great. That's fantastic. So all of Lustria has been included. Of course, Lustria is probably one of my favourite continents in the game, because you can obviously mostly Lisbon are there, but there's also Skaven, Dwarves, High Elves, Dark Elves, Vampire Coast. It's an absolute battle royal down there, so it is really fun. Going over to the Southlands. Of course, in Mortal Empires, the Southlands was cut off. We only had like this, like the Tomb Kings were at the very bottom of the map here. That was a bit disappointing. But now in Immortal Empires, whoosh, we've got the rest. We've got the central jungles, the western jungles, Dawn's Landing, jungles of the gods. So where Queek Headtaker usually starts, alongside I've forgotten his name. One of the Lisbon factions, the Last Defenders. So that's great. so the Southlands and Lustria have been expanded back to their more or less their full size, which is fantastic. Ulthuan looks a bit more chunky, and so does Nagaron. So Warhammer 2's received a bit of love here, which is fantastic to see. So going over to Warhammer 1's map, it more or less looks the same as it did in Immortal Empires. So let's go over to Bretonia, which I've crossed here. Bretonia looks great, although there was a few extra the Barrows of Culu. That sounds new. Forest of Chalon. Correct me if I'm wrong. As Bretonia received some extra regions, that maybe I'm not too sure. There's the Wood Elf. There's the Wood Elves there. I think that's the exact same as it was. So yeah, Bretonia looks very good. It's bigger than bigger than I imagined, but yeah, it's maybe bits of Bretonia have been expanded. The Empire looks nice and big again, because my problem with the Empire was in Warhammer 3, the Empire are included in like the bottom bit of the map. They were a bit squashed in Warhammer 3, and bits of their provinces were shrunk in to fit it into the map, and I didn't like that. I liked how they were perfect in Mortal Empires and of course Warhammer 1. But here, the Empire look like they're back to full strength with all their big districts. Talabeclan's big, Midland's big, Averland is back, because for some reason I don't think Averland were not in Warhammer 3, which was strange. Reichland, of course, where the Carl of the Empire will start, looks nice and big again, because it was like a little slither of land in Warhammer 3, which is quite strange. But Reichland looks like it's big again, and the Empire looks big. And like I said, the Empire is one of the biggest empires on the map. Like I've circled here, so that's great. More Warhammer 1 stuff. Yeah, Warhammer 1's map's fine. Of course, Norska up here looks great. Like I said, Norska was a little bit shrunk in Warhammer 3 to fit in the other part. But yeah, it looks great again. We're going to have Wulfric and Throg up here, maybe with a few extra factions. Maybe some of the Chaos God factions will be up here. Albion looks a bit bigger. Maybe they're teasing something with Albion, because I do not in Warhammer Albion is their own faction, but they've never appeared in the game. So Albion looks a bit bigger than I remember. Maybe they're teasing something there. I don't know, with the Albion channel. Kislev, that's about right, I think. We've got Troll Country, the Oblasts, the Curse City, Eastern Oblasts, Yeah. Kislev looks about right. It's not as big as the Empire. It's only about less than half the size. But yeah, Kislev looks good. Katerina will be there. Constantin will be there. And up here we see the Chaos Wastes from Warhammer 3, but they've all been blended into the top part of the map as like the North Pole. So I'm sure we'll see some Chaos God factions up here, like Chaos factions. Maybe some of the Chaos factions, like I said. The Bloodfire Falls, I think we're definitely going to get Khorne here. Maybe we'll get Nurgle here. Slanesh, I'm not sure where Slanesh will start. Maybe, I'm sure Nakari has a score to settle with the High Elves, and Nakari might be here somewhere near. They did say in the tab, lots of legendary lords will be shifted around, and they're going to say in an upcoming poll where all the new legendary lords will be shifted around. Of course, we already know some legendary lords will get their own factions, like I've said here where the dwarves are. The White Dwarf Grombrindle will get his own position and faction. That's great. So will Volkmar the Grim with Reichland. So will, although of course I didn't circle. I forgot to circle the vampires here. The vampires look a little bit shrunk in. That's all they've got here. This little bit here. So I think the vampires have been shifted a little bit. They definitely had a bigger terrain than that, but I do think the vampires usually conquer these areas quite easily in the campaign if you're not playing as them. So yeah, if you're not playing as the Empire, so yeah, we'll see. But yeah, like it's great to see legendary lords that stuck in a certain faction are getting their own faction and own starting positions, especially with Grombrindle. That's great to see. And that's all I've really got to say about Warhammer 1. It's great, isn't it? It's fantastic. This looks absolutely fantastic. How they've blended all three maps together like this, and nothing really looks like it's been shrunk to me. Nothing substantial, anyway. Then moving on to Warhammer 3 territory, which we've been playing for the last few. So in black here, this is obviously where the Chaos Dwarves are going to start. And you can see, well, they haven't been announced yet, sadly, but we know they're coming, the Chaos Dwarves. But they've got a big territory, the Chaos Dwarves. It's one of the biggest in the game, really. Look at it. They've got Zorn, Kull, Kashkadrak, the Plain of Zar, the Blasted Wastes, the Wolfland, the Desolation of Asgorth. So they've got a big territory, the Chaos Dwarves, when they come into the game eventually, which I can't wait for. Of course, we've got the mountains here in between Warhammer 1 and the Darklands here. So when the Chaos Dwarves emerge, I think they're going to start crossing over here. We're going to get a big war between the Chaos Dwarves and everyone. They hate everyone, don't they, the Chaos Dwarves? So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with on the entire map when the Chaos Dwarves get unleashed. In yellow here, this is obviously where the Ogres will be, the Mountains of Morn. All around here, the Ancient Giant Lands, Bone Road, Ivory Road, Noblar Country, the Wyvern Pass, of course, the Ogre Kingdoms will be here. Looks like the Ogre Kingdoms haven't been shrunk too much. They look like they've still got a big chunk of land, because the Mountains of Morn is a big mountain range, so it's good to see the Ogres haven't been shafted. And then over here on the far east, look at this! Cathay is massive! I'm so happy, because I did say in my first my overall map review of Warhammer 3, half of Cathay was missing, because Cathay is meant to be the largest human faction in the Warhammer fantasy world, bigger than the Empire, bigger than Bretonnia. They're meant to be huge. Half their map was missing, but half their provinces were missing. But look at this! So in Warhammer 3, we only really have this in Warhammer 3, but now we've got the Celestial Riverlands. I know bits of it is, but this is more of it. The Celestial Lake, the Jade River Delta, Nongchang Basin, Mount Lee, the Broken Lians of Qian, the Great Canals, the Jungans of Cheyenne, and the Serpent Estuary, which leads out into the Jade Sea. And look at all these rivers, look at all these canals here leading through Cathay, like the river trade and all that, which is going to be great. But it's said that the Dark Elves are going to try and infiltrate Cathay, through especially, what's his name? The Kraken Lord, I've forgotten his name, the Kraken Lord Dark Elf. He's going to be coming through here a lot, so it's great to see that Cathay, the full version of Cathay, is finally in the game. Like I said, half their land was missing, and we only really got this in Warhammer 3. Boom! Now we've got all that in in Immortal Empires. It's beautiful to see, it really is. And last, before I talk about before we go down here, look at all this down here. We've got the South Pole, that's new. So we've got the Icefire Plains, the Southern Wastes, the Abyssal Glacier, and the Daemonian Hills, that's hard to say. So we'll see probably just Chaos factions down there. And lastly, they've been left blank for now, but we know they're going to be, I think they are going to be added in a year or two. We've got Ind and Koresh, which is very exciting. Of course, they're here. But there's no territory yet, because of course they haven't been announced yet. But I'm certain Creative Assembly and Games Workshop are working on both factions, probably to be released maybe next year. Of course, the Kingdoms of Ind with the Lion people, I think they're going to be really interesting, and the Hinterlands of Koresh, the Snake people, which I think when they get added, they're going to really shake up the mix. Of course, pushing up into Cathay, so we'll see what Ind do. They'll be very close to the Ogres. And sadly, no Ind. I think people were hoping for Ind are just past this bit, aren't they? The island nation of samurais and Warhammer. Maybe they will be added in a few years, but there might be a big map expansion. But for now, it looks like we're not going to be getting Nippon. So did I say Ind? Nippon. And that won't be here, sadly, for yet, but there is still hope. You never know. But I don't want to get greedy, because look at this. This is just gorgeous. This is going to be the ultimate sandbox Warhammer experience. And so many factions, so many legendary lords. It's going to be so much fun. No stupid Vortex campaign, even though I quite like the Vortex campaign. No awful Eye of the Vortex campaign, which so many people hated in Warhammer 3. And before I finish, of course, I want to introduce Sea Lanes. Which enables you to, because the map is huge, it enables you to travel across the map quite quickly. You see these little lines here which are joining all the different oceans. These are sea lanes which will enable you to transport across the map very quickly. So say if you're Cathay and you want to go and explore Lustria, or I don't know, Ulthuan, you can get across the map really quickly, or get around the other side really, really quickly. So it says here, with the scale of Immortal Empires map in mind, sea lanes have been introduced to add flexibility to your globe-trotting adventures. Interacting with them will provide the option to travel from the east of the map to the west and vice versa, with the exception of the Underworld Sea, which connects the Sea of Malice to the Boiling Sea. Okay. Any lord or hero will be able to move into the sea lane markers, allowing them to set sail and reach their destination after being at sea for just a few turns. So good. And hopefully you won't take attrition, because one of the main problems I had if you wanted to travel across, say if you, I don't know, you were Bretonia and you wanted to go and explore, I don't know, Lustria, by the time you take so much attrition getting across this bit, by the time you get here, like most of your army's gone. So maybe but with a sea lane, you could just go whoop, whoop, and go round. So that's great, and I'm sure we'll see how the Vampire Coast with the Galleon's Graveyard, and of course how they'll make use of the sea lanes. That makes transporting across the world less of a hassle. And this is also interesting. Before I finish, this is what it says: they were included within the map. Not all land masses will be traversable at the launch of Immortal Empires, such as Koresh and Ind. Yeah, yet. Our focus on the Total War Warhammer trilogy has always been on the races of the 8th edition, with some exceptions such as Grand Cathay, Norsca and Kislev, and the areas where these races reside remain our immediate design priority. So yeah, guys, it is just incredible, and I cannot wait to see where. Well, I can't wait to start playing the Immortal Empires beta come August, and I know it'll probably have a rough start with lots of bugs and glitches, because this is the most ambitious undertaking Total War has ever had. Like I said, over 500 settlements, nearly 300 starting factions, 86 legendary lords, and that's going to go up. You know, when the legendary lords of the Chaos Dwarves come in, when we're going to get more legendary lords for Cathay, you know, because all the other different dragon siblings spread around Cathay. We're going to get more legendary lords for Kislev. We're going to get more legendary lords for all 4 Chaos factions with Khorne, Slaanesh, Nurgle, and Tzeentch spread across here. They're going to be dotted around the map. Of course, Ind and Koresh, they're going to get legendary lords when they inevitably get released, maybe probably next year or the year after that, 2024. We'll see. Hopefully, Nippon are added maybe in a few years' time. I would love Nippon, and that would just complete it. That would be the full Warhammer Fantasy experience right there, wouldn't it? With Nippon, Nippon put right there. And so we've got so many more factions and releases to come out. But yeah, guys, I just can't wait. So yeah, guys, what are your thoughts on the Immortal Empires map being released? I know Total War will be releasing more stuff on their social media channels very, very soon, so I'll be keeping updated on that. But what are your thoughts, guys? Comment below, let me know. And which faction will you be playing with first come August when Immortal Empires is released? I really don't know. Will I do another Empire campaign and try and conquer the world with the Empire? Will I Cathay? Try and rule the world with Cathay? You can just try and rule the entire map. Imagine it'll take like 200-300 turns at least. Oh, but it's going to be so amazing to see all 3 factions, all 3 worlds coming together, all 3 games coming together in this grand sandbox experience. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. I'm very excited. I hope you guys are too. Comment below, let me know, and I'll see you all very soon, guys.